Hi, welcome to Technically Incorrect, episode 5. It's been a while. Shall we start with the XPS 15 and the XPS 17 then?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so I've got a web browser view up here, and so I'm gonna take a peek at um, at these pictures. So I saw this, we saw this on Reddit, and there's also leaked latitudes, which I think are cool, but most people are more keen on the XPS 15 and 17s. So, all right, shall we talk about the design, and then we'll talk about
Yeah,
the
for
other stuff?
sure.
Okay, so you
Yeah,
go first.
yeah. So it looks just like an evolution of kind of what Dell's been pushing with the XPS 15 line for a long time.
Yeah.
It's a welcome evolution for sure because the older design still looked nice, but it was definitely getting long in the tooth. I think that was 2019 was the fourth year after the last
So
remodel,
I want to say it was
somewhere around then.
Was it December of 2015 or early? I think it was December of 2015 that
Yeah,
they dropped the 9550. Yeah, it was the first one, right? And
yeah,
yeah, and then I guess it was the gift that kept on giving for them long enough to not want to redesign.
yeah,
They moved around the camera a little bit. They added a fingerprint scanner. Didn't really do much else. There's the whole VRM shenanigan and the throttling,
yeah,
um, which was sort of ameliorated in the latest one. Um, you know, it had its problems. It still does have its problems, but it's a pretty good laptop, pretty good design on the older ones,
yeah,
and I like the design language as well. Um,
yeah,
Big thing for me, really the only thing for me about the design is that I like that they went to 16 by 10, and
yeah. That's
yeah, increased.
it's kind of the
They got rid of the wasted space.
Yeah, that's the big thing that stuck out to me too is shaving off that chin and pushing a 16 by 10 aspect ratio. I'm a sucker for anything that's not 16 by 9.
Right.
So
So we should talk a little bit about why some people like 16 by 10. So why is that?
yeah, it gives you more vertical real estate. Personally, that's why I like it.
Yeah.
Web pages are easier to scroll through. If you're a writer like you and I, you just get a little bit extra real estate on your page when you're writing. I don't know. It's more of a for me. It's more of an aesthetically pleasing aspect ratio. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel as squished in there. So,
Right.
um, I'm still a big fan of 4:3, but
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Right.
I mean
Right.
that's long gone. But
Right.
if this pushes other OEMs to move to 16 by 10, then that's the best thing that the XPS line could have done for modern technology, in my opinion.
I think you're right. I mean, because that's what manufacturers create. Like, what's available is available because that's what the demand is, right? And so that's why
Right.
16 by 9 is so ubiquitous, is that it was being pushed by more manufacturers as a result of, motion pictures and, sort of home media
Yeah.
taking off.
Cinematic.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cinematic experience at home.
right. So that's okay. Is there anything we don't like about the design? So they moved the speakers to the side of the keyboard. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's
Honestly,
good.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, now they're facing up towards the user, and so
Yeah,
they're
I mean they'll probably still
it'll be a
be
lot clearer.
crappy, um, but I'm being a bit sarcastic towards XPS. My current machine is the XPS, the latest one, the 9750. Um, and I like it, but Dell skimps on. They have a nice design, but my feeling is that Dell tends to skimp on places where you're not looking. And on the case of
Yeah.
the XPS, it's the speakers, it's the sound card, it's the wireless card, it's the drivers. They're just using, like, I've had so many issues, and I think a lot of people have, with audio crackling from the 3.5
Yeah.
millimeter jack. It's just a as you know, because we recently wrote about DACs and whatnot and USB-C audio. I think it's just a really poor piece of hardware and really poor driver support in
Yeah.
terms of like the audio. So I hope that they don't skimp on that stuff because it really looks nice.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the ports? So how did the ports change?
So most of them are gone. They're going kind of MacBook style. I mean, from renders I've seen, there's on the
Yeah,
15,
so I'm
it's
looking at renders
two
right now.
USB-C Thunderbolt 3 on the left, and then a USB-C and an SD card on the right with a headphone jack.
Right.
And I mean, I'll applaud them for keeping the SD card slot, since everybody else seems to be going to micro SD or just dropping it completely.
Right.
But I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of mourning the loss of HDMI and USB-A. But
Yeah. So I'm with you. I'm mourning that as well, and I guess there's a small consolation prize, which is if I can read this. It comes with what does it come with? A USB-C to USB-A and HDMI version 2 adapter shipping standard. So
hooray, dongle life.
yeah, dongle life. All right, now. Okay, so this is what we're talking about, the XPS 15, right? And they made some other changes. So now let's be cynical, and we'll talk about the bad. So they lowered the battery capacity to 86 watt hours on the high end.
I noticed that too.
Now, with a bigger screen and the fact that you may not be able to undervolt these ever, we don't know that, but they're running on 6 and 8 core 10th gen. And what we do know so far is that Dell doesn't. Well, most manufacturers are not letting those be underclocked. As the GS66 from MSI has that option tucked away in its BIOS, which is good. But Dell has not been known to do that kind of thing. They're not in the XPS line. They're not really there for gaming. What else has really changed? It's a GTX 1650 Ti, which is different than this is 1650. Do you think that people are going to see better performance out of the Ti in this chassis? Because we should talk about the chassis and our concern.
It's actually one of the biggest concerns that I have is the thinner chassis and the just the smaller overall profile means less cooling and less room for heat to move out. And so, I mean, the bump to a 1650 Ti looks really great on paper, but honestly, if you're looking at sustained loads, I don't know that you're going to see a massive bump in performance over the standard 1650 or even over the 1050 in the older models, to be honest.
I mean, what we saw in the past was that they were just like they were not properly, like they didn't have the right voltage, basically, if I recall.
Right.
I mean, and so it was just the GPU would just like run full out, then throttle back or cause issues. I'm concerned about the 15 because it just looks thin. It's the weight is the weight higher? Let's see.
The 15, it's 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds for the bigger battery and UHD touchscreen, I think is what. Yeah. It's 4 pounds for the standard.
Okay, so
I think
that's how it used to be.
Marginally lighter.
Well, no. So the previous one with the FHD and 56-hour battery was like 3.9 pounds. Now this one does have the screen's got higher contrast, 1600 to 1. On the so it says it's an HDR panel. I'm glad to see they got rid of OLED because OLED is just flawed and shitty. At least with their quality control, like the black crush I did not like, and the gray banding I could not stand. And then you didn't get touch. And I think on a machine like that, you want touch.
Right, and OLED's just not ready for the prime time for high-end. I mean, unless you're going to put a lot of money in development into higher quality panels, it's just not.
I don't know. It might never be. We've got like a micro LED coming out on some other manufacturers' laptops. So It sounds
Yeah.
like that might be the thing. So the memory now is at running at 2,933 megahertz.
And it's just doubled up to 64
Right.
instead of 32. So
Okay. So yeah. So a bit of a mixed bag potentially. We're concerned about the throttling. We're concerned about heat.
yeah.
We know how Dell rolls on these. Now, what do you think about the 17? So it's 16 by 10. It's not going to be as huge, but it's still like not as huge as 16 by 9 would have been. Do you think
Yeah.
that the XPS 17 is too big? Is that? I mean,
Honestly, no.
okay.
I mean, I'm speaking from someone that has a soft spot in his heart for 17-inch laptops because they make a killer secondary display. But considering how thin the bezels are around it now, this is a 17-inch laptop that's in a footprint that most other 15-inch laptops are in, or at least around. And I mean, industry-wide bezels are thinning, especially on gaming laptops, but it's a 17-inch laptop to me. I think that's not going to feel like a 17-inch laptop. I think it's going to feel like a chunkier or larger footprint of a 15-inch. So I don't think size is going to be a huge deal.
I would like to hold it in hand. When you get when you get above 4.5 pounds, I think you do feel it a bit because it's a full pound heavier. Um, it does have more Thunderbolt 3, which is good. Because the one Thunderbolt 3 on the XPS 15 is a bottleneck. At least it is for me. But yeah, I mean, what I hope is that the XPS 17 like has enough cooling to be able to use that GTX 2060.
Yeah, that's kind of.
That's iffy to
I
me.
think it will. Yeah.
All right. How many watts? How many watts is the 2060 compared to the 1650? Do you recall?
Yeah. So, I wrote this down in I've got old school notes here. So the RTX 2060 Max Q is what all the leaks have pointed to. It's 65 watts. And so I mean, it's manageable, but my big concern with that is 65 watts, and if you max it out with a Core i9 that's pushing 45 watts, that's running full tilt. That's 110 watts.
Oh, even more than that on like an i7 that has a PL2 of like 65 watts plus.
Oh yeah,
as it is, right?
So even more.
Yeah, so you're already looking even more. And how are these being powered? They do no. So that's a big thing, right? We
that is.
So they're USB-C power now.
The 15 is through USB-C power or Thunderbolt 3, obviously, but it's the USB-C that's only USB-C on the right is supposed to be for power, and then same on the 17, and Thunderbolt only provides up to 100 watts, and that's really a theoretical.
I don't know.
I mean,
it sounds like throttling to me, or at least draining from the battery. And if you have a 17-inch laptop, I think it damn well better be powerful. I mean, otherwise, look. I mean, okay, for me, I would not be surprised if the XPS 15 and the XPS 17 basically had very similar, like between 90%. Like, I mean, it's very similar performance. With that 2060 and the limited power flow, Cynical Doug is going to say, this thing is not going to run that much faster. So really, for me, I think if you want the screen real estate, go for it. If it's going to be mostly at home, go for it.
Yeah.
See how much these cost as well, and I'll try and nab one at some point to review.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's fine. On the whole, I think. As far as the 17 goes, I don't think most people are going to see that power limit. It's just the people that are rendering long video or really pushing the hardware, and in that case, I guess grab another Thunderbolt cable and plug in.
I don't think it works like that. I'm no
I don't
expert,
know either.
though.
But
okay, my experience with with Thunderbolt 3. Well, yeah, USB-C power delivery on these laptops, and this is without a GPU because I run my XPS 15 through with an external GPU, and that means so it's not plugged in to the AC, it's plugged in
Mhm.
through the power delivery, which on mine it's an Aorus gaming box USB power delivery. I just want to check the wattage. Um, the Okay, so it's supposed to deliver 100 watts, up to
Yeah.
100 watts.
Up to is the big keyword there.
Yeah, and I don't think it does,
Yeah.
because when I let the laptop, which is undervolted now, when I let it run full throttle, my battery drains. When
Yeah.
I'm like just doing stuff. So anyway, I'm pessimistic about thermals and some of the stuff, but I think they look great. And
Yeah.
am I going to spend money on them? We can get to that when we talk about the recession depression. Before we get there, so shall we talk about iPhone SE and then just how Apple is doing
Yeah.
overall?
For
So
sure.
I'm
Yeah.
not an Apple guy. I used to
I
be a
am.
long time
So
ago. All right. So what do you think?
I think this is. I think it's a great move by Apple, and honestly, I think it's strategically a great move. And they got super lucky with the timing of this release because it's basically a budget iPhone. And as we'll talk about later on, people are kind of coming under financial strain, so phone upgrades are the first thing to go. But now you have an option of getting a flagship level phone for $400. And that's in this day and age, you're normally looking at 1,000 plus to get a flagship level phone. So
Right.
I think it's a fantastic device. I think it's gonna sell like crazy just because of the pricing mainly. The big thing that I've seen from looking at it is I think this is a phone targeted specifically at people that have refused to upgrade to the new form factor of the iPhone 10 with the notch.
Good point.
So you still have a lot of people out there that have an iPhone 6S, iPhone 7, iPhone 8, like mine right here, because people just don't want to deal with the notch. And it's perfectly placed. It's a cheaper iPhone, so people that want to get into iOS aren't shelling out a whole lot of money, and the people that are ready for an upgrade have a similar and familiar form factor to them. That's again super dirt cheap compared to everything else out there. So as far as for Apple users, it's fantastic. And for the phone market as a whole, I would say it's awesome too, because again, you're getting flagship level phone for less than half the cost of other flagships.
So
So
$399. Yeah.
yeah,
That's for an Apple product.
yeah,
Um,
pretty
it's
surprising.
not badly priced. Now, why you say it's for flagship level phone? Um,
Yeah.
how is this stacking up? Do you think against the other kind of the top of the line products in terms of in terms of functionality and speed with the A13 chip?
Yeah, so that's kind of the big reason is the A13 that's in there. It's blowing most other Android phones out of the water just because it's an A13. It's the fastest chip on the market according to most benchmarks.
Right.
The other thing, it lacks a lot of the features that you're seeing in actual flagship phones, like multiple cameras and in-display fingerprint readers and under-display cameras and all this stuff. But most people that are looking for an iPhone, and especially that are looking in this price range, don't care about most of that. Most people are looking for a phone in that mid-tier range, want something that can take good pictures, which this one can. Want something that's going to last a long time, which this one, I wouldn't be surprised to see it go for
Right.
5 or 6 years of support. And they want something that's got enough of like the actual features people use, like
Right.
mobile
That's
mobile
a very
payments.
good point.
Yeah.
So the actual
So
features people use. So
right.
instead of producing a phone that had, for example, no freaking ports for no reason at all, they actually have made a phone that is designed for people to use, which I think is pretty good actually.
Yep.
It doesn't have super thin bezels, um, and that's fine. It has a 4.7-inch screen. It fits in your freaking hand. So I like
Right.
that. Fits in your hand. Um, it's not trying to sell you. Like, it's basically what I like about it is that it's, as you said, this is for people who haven't been upgrading, and it's not designed to make you feel like you're compelled to sell your flagship from last year to buy
Right.
another, like, to just waste money and resources on another product that you
Right.
it doesn't do much different. So this is a phone for people who need a phone, who want it to work, and it seems, I think this is pretty nice. So well done.
Yeah. Seriously.
Well,
Good job, Apple.
well done. So I think maybe we can just talk briefly because so we have enough time to cover anything else you want to
Yeah.
about basically of the three tech titans in the U.S. Because we all know if we're talking about most evil, then it's Huawei by default.
Oh
But
man.
okay, so all right, Apple versus Microsoft versus Google, and
Yeah.
this is something that I've been thinking about more because I just sort of, the older I get, well, I'll be 35 in a few months. Um, the less the less patience I have for bullshit, and I get more and more pissed off at Windows's and Microsoft's bullshit. And the reason is because I feel like a lot of stuff it's been designed with no thought at all of the user in mind, and that's a complaint that I
Yeah.
heard for decades. And I never understood it because I think I was just kind of I had resigned myself to, like, it's Windows. You figure out how to use it and then you remember. Um,
Yeah.
but just little stuff like losing the ability, like, to configure stuff and control more and more aspects of the user experience, and stuff that just for years hasn't been fixed and seems to be getting worse in my
Yeah.
um, and it's clearly because they like, if they wanted to fix it, they could. But my I know a lot of people who work at Microsoft, and they all talk about the management issues there. And basically, I mean, it seems sort of like an issue of too much compartmentalization, like not enough. What's the term? I don't know, not thought leadership. That's very cliche, but um, it's like it's there's not the cohesive vision. Yeah, there's no vision,
Yeah.
right?
Gotcha.
Um, so you got them, which on the software side, that's what bothers me. Um,
Mhm.
Now for Google, it's the software is pretty decent, right?
Yeah. It's pretty fluid. It's meant to be easy to use and meant for you to like it.
Yeah, the OS
But that's because
and the
they,
software is good. Yeah.
yeah, but that's because they want you to use it so they can get all the data they can from you.
Yeah,
So
and Google it's a company that I don't particularly you know like too much because I don't think they don't really stand for anything other than
yeah,
collecting data and profiting off it.
profit.
And
Yeah,
then the hardware, it doesn't attract me at all, and I think they made a lot of missteps in hardware lately, with, like, the Pixels and I think the last thing I really liked was the Pixel C. I had one. It didn't really work as a device, but it really looked great and it felt great. Um,
yeah,
so, and I suppose that right now we're talking about mobile computing in general, like
mhm,
laptops, Chromebooks, phones, tablets. That's why we're including Google here.
right.
And so let's say, all right, I suppose that you're left with Apple, who solders SSDs and doesn't want people to be able to repair stuff, but has a great operating system, pretty good build quality. So, all right, now we're talking about 2020, right? Because if we're talking about 2016 to 2019, then the answer, I would say would be like, hell no, you can't. It's not. I would never buy an Apple product then. I mean, I tried, I returned it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, if your keyboard's going to fail 2 months after you buy
right,
it, that's
right. So they're a lot better now.
Mhm.
So let's say that maybe you and I are both up for buying a new laptop, and I don't know if we should throw a phone in there. But let's say we're gonna buy a new laptop. What do
Yeah.
you think? Who's the lesser of these evils? And I guess you can think about Linux. But remember that let's assume that you have to use things like Microsoft Word for work.
Okay. Yeah.
So, which immediately,
Because that was going to be my
right?
answer.
Because
Well,
that
why don't
immediately,
you
if you don't
use?
know, okay, you can technically game on Linux at some point. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not gonna. You know,
It's getting there.
it's
All the games I play work on
it's
Linux, so
trying.
I'm good.
It's trying. But Microsoft Office stuff does not work on there, and if you're like uh, if you have to use it for work, like I do,
Right. Or
it's
specific.
it's a
Yeah.
no go. There's all kinds of stuff that makes it a no go. Um,
Right.
I guess you could argue the same about
Yeah.
Apple, but well, I mean, no, it has Office, but yeah, there's some other stuff but ignoring that.
Yeah. I mean, personally, Apple products look really nice, and there's kind of this enjoyment factor in using them. Like you said, the operating system is cohesive. The
Yeah,
big thing with Apple is if you're going to get an Apple machine, you need to be willing to buy into the ecosystem because that's where it really shines. So that means
going all in.
iPhone, Mac,
Right,
MacBook, Apple Watch, whatever. And if you have all those things, all Apple products, they work really well with each other. You can have your iPad as a second display with Sidecar and move stuff over there just like
right,
it's attached to your computer. AirDrop
yeah,
works beautifully between stuff. iMessage pops up
right,
on everything. It's wonderful, but it is an expensive walled garden. And like you said, you have to be willing also to put up with kind of the bull crap that Apple
right,
puts out there.
right.
Like
The fact
user,
like not being able to swap out a SSD is really like that's
right?
just that kills it really for me. They
Yeah,
would
and
have to
that's
offer.
the thing.
Yeah,
User hostile hardware decisions killing the headphone jack,
right,
which you can argue is the catalyst for the headphone jack disappearing from smartphones today. That's the thing is you really got to buy not just into the product but into the ecosystem and really the company's vision for
right.
what mobile computing should be. So if you're on board with that and on board with being told, hey, this is what you should get because it's good, and you're like, yeah, that's fine,
It's hard
then
not to
yeah,
roll my
go.
eyes right now. Sorry. No, I mean,
But go
I,
for that. I mean,
it's like so
so
this is a frustrating thing between all these companies. They all do certain things better than another one. So,
yeah,
Microsoft in the PC world does better, better hardware maintenance in that way. It's sort of like, you can maintain it. You've got more choice in designs and so on. But it's just
right.
an incoherent experience, and it's a very kind of sort of like, oh, you
It's kind of
don't like,
sloppy.
yeah, it's very sloppy. It's like, oh, you don't like the way this works? Too bad. Like,
Yeah,
okay. And it's sort of, the platform being is what it is, sort of a hodgepodge. On the Google side, you sort of have like, I don't know, I mean, if we're talking just about companies, I think we can say that they're probably the most evil, if we care about privacy. But
right.
yeah, so it's like I've been closer and closer to buying a Mac again. The ARM MacBooks is a new thing that we probably should talk on its own about once there's more info. But really,
Yeah,
it's like, man, if they just didn't solder all their stuff together and they weren't so hostile about
yeah.
repairing it, I,
It's like go back to the 2012 MacBook Pros, man.
yeah,
Replace almost everything in those
yeah,
machines, and they're awesome.
yeah, exactly.
but they're just a little too thick. But
Mm,
yeah, I miss the I have actually a 2011 MacBook Pro that is still going strong. And one of the things I love is it's like 10 screws to replace RAM and hard drive. I can swap out the optical drive in it for another hard drive. It's a well-built machine because it's intended for easy repair. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Maximizing profit and screwing everybody else. Okay.
Right.
All right. So, I think we may not have time to talk about why we bought tech, but because I do want to talk about the economy and its effect on technology and the market this year, because I think a lot of people haven't really upgraded computers. 2019, I don't have the stats with me. I'm guessing sales were not as great. Like sales were outstanding up until what was it, like early 2018. Like basically we were seeing the massive jumps forward with NVIDIA's architecture, right? So and then VR was being pushed as a market. Now VR wasn't really a big thing, but they sold a lot of systems on the promise of being VR ready, and that's why it was
right.
They really tried.
That was the big brand, yeah.
I was just thinking the other week about like, man, how pissed are all the people who bought things that were VR ready and they're still waiting.
All those Oculus Rift early adopters, man, they're saving right now.
Well, there's Half-Life Alyx, but
yeah.
So
and Beat Saber, but
right. And VR porn. I've only heard things. I'm a married man, so all right. So, what were we talking about before VR porn came?
The decline in sales.
Right. So basically, my analysis of the market was before the Wuhan coronavirus, the Chinese Communist Party's coronavirus,
CCP virus.
Right, the CCP virus. Before all that came in and screwed the world economy. I would argue that the world economy was screwed anyway because we were over-consuming and it was not sustainable. But like even before that, we were in for a major recession because tech had really slowed down. We haven't seen much increases in speed. In GPUs, it's not been speed. They're doubling down on like AI and they're diversifying, like NVIDIA is. Intel totally has, dropped the ball. And so...
Jumped the shark.
Yeah. And so jumped the extreme shark, marketed at $1,500. So what I said, I wrote this in an editorial like 2 years ago when I was still writing for Notebookcheck. That was something like the Intel and NVIDIA stagnation is like the best thing that's happened to consumers. My thinking was that we're going to see better hardware designs now. Like finally, they're going to start improving like the user experience. That was my hope. And it's this 2020 is the year, so I was a little bit early on that. But I think 2020 is going to be the year where we're going to see good user experience come to the forefront, like better design. Because what else is there for them to sell? They can't sell the same shit they've been selling, Dell. Like that's why the XPS 15 finally has a new design, right?
Right.
Because they couldn't keep selling it. So and it does make sense. Like I would do the same thing. But the same designs and the same CPUs. Like Dave Lee had a video on the new MacBook and how like people were complaining about no 10th gen on the base processor, but like the 8th gen and 10th gen are basically the exact same. And unless there's hardly any reason to do that. So
yeah, it's kind of a meme at this point with Intel, where it's like, oh, the new Intel processors are out. It's 14 nanometer plus.
Yeah,
it's I mean, there's little innovation. I'll say AMD is really kicking things up
on the mobile side, especially. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Ryzen 4000 series processors seem to kind of be that jump in performance and efficiency that people are looking for. But even then, I don't think it's enough to really kickstart this industry that's really
Right.
just kind of it's stagnated and it started to drop over the past year.
Because they're going to be running, all right, let's say even the best Ryzen is still going to be running about, no better than the best Intel chips, for sure, right? And then when you're looking at features, Intel has Thunderbolt still, so they've got the monopoly on that, and I like eGPUs. So, like, if I'm going to
Yeah,
get an AMD system, I want Thunderbolt because I need that, like, that ability
right.
to plug stuff into an eGPU because I have an RTX 2070, and it's nice, and I like the way I can just plug it in and work with it. So I think manufacturers are going to be trying a lot harder to make better designs and sell them. And we've seen it with the
Yeah,
GS66 better than GS65, like they're trying to fix the chassis and whatnot. Um, and in the end, I think it's a win for consumers.
yeah.
Yeah, I hope that carries forward.
That's my hope too. Is that the stagnation and the internals lead to innovation externally.
Right.
I mean, yeah, laptops have kind of gotten boring over the past couple of years, so
Yeah.
it'll be that would be what an OEM needs to do, is come out with some new feature set that really is like greatly beneficial to the user. I don't know, that sounds super general, but that is really what they need to do. They need to bring something
that's not like Windows on ARM and the Qualcomm chips, because I could tell that was going to be a stillborn. I knew that was stillborn, but it was good that
Windows
they tried.
RT for the win.
Right, because I was like, I really don't see why this is any better. And there is stuff like what is it, like Project Janus or whatever, like the dual screen stuff. I mean, I like that they're trying,
Yeah.
like they're trying to make things that actually improve workflow, that actually improve the user experience. Honestly, all you need to do is fix up Windows, like, but and give me a track point on non-ThinkPad. Put them on all laptops.
No, and I will say, internally, the one thing I think that could kickstart the PC industry again is an ARM MacBook. And sorry to go back to Apple again, but bringing ARM into a laptop form that actually works and pushing that could definitely do it. I mean, ARM processors are getting to the point now where they're the kings of battery life, and that's kind of their big selling point.
Right.
But the power's just never been there. But if you can tweak the software or tweak the ARM chip to get good enough performance out of it, you could see other OEMs starting to hop on that bandwagon, which could be a boon for battery life in laptops. And that's something that most users complain about.
Of course.
So,
but like the only thing that the biggest thing is, of course, the software support, right?
Right.
And
that's why
Dave Lee pointed out that it's like developers have no choice but to go along with it. So it should be okay, but it might take a while. That's all.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. On the Windows side, and for most OEMs, it'll take a long time, just because Windows doesn't play well with ARM right now. It doesn't play at all. So you have to have a whole new operating system for it. So, but once you get Windows compatibility on it, it's kind of that's where stuff will move.
Yeah, like if you could get those ARM MacBooks running Boot Camp or something. I don't know, but it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be another one of those weird transitionary periods, I suspect. But I think it's good. They're doing what they should
Apple
do.
innovating? What?
Yeah. They're giving Intel, they're drop kicking Intel like they drop kicked Motorola for basically holding them back, which is good. It's what they should do. You can just get rid of Tim Cook and all the other kind of people who are focusing. I don't know, who are making whoever's responsible for the butterfly keyboard. I don't know. Okay. So last thing, we do have a little enough time. I wanted to keep this under an hour, but I think it's related because we're talking about the recession and hurting sales. So, like, why? Because you and I, obviously we got into technology journalism because we like technology. But I, in the past couple of years, I've really kind of lost, you know, I kind of, I don't know if it's cynicism. I don't know if that's the right word because for me, I just found that it was not for me. Maybe it was tech journalism and tech lost their luster around kind of the same time, where I was
Yeah.
thinking like this is people don't really need to buy these. Companies are don't need to make these. There's a lot of planned obsolescence. There's a lot of just like waste and
Yeah.
materialism and and that's a huge 180-degree turn from where I was like 5 years ago, where I was buying and reviewing like 6 laptops a year. And so it's like I still know a lot of people who are buying laptops like that, and they just burn through laptops, and like,
Yeah.
oh, this one isn't exactly what I was looking for, so I'm going to go for another one. And I was
Yeah.
thinking that the whole reason that I did that initially is like I kept thinking like this is the last laptop. Like if I just buy this laptop, it's gonna fix all the things that I
Yeah.
it's gonna fill that emptiness in my soul basically. Um, which well, it turns out that was not what did it. But I was just wondering because I would became more self-aware. Like I'm just buying crap to buy crap because I think it's going to make me happy,
Yeah.
and of course it doesn't. So that took me a while to figure out, but yeah, I'm happy I did figure it out because it allows me to kind of make tech journalism more of a hobby, and then I can be sarcastic and cynical, and I don't need to worry too much about pissing people off. But yeah, how about you? Yeah, have you reflected much on sort of what got you into tech
Yeah.
or what keeps
I
you
mean,
here?
the whole reason I got into this industry and applied to, I work at Notebookcheck and at Ultrabook, and the whole reason I took those jobs is to get my hands on the shiniest new laptops without having to pay for them, basically, just do a review.
Yeah,
Um, and so, I mean, at first I was kind of, like you said, I kind of had this desire to go out and fill this hole with these new laptops. I didn't have the money to do it, thankfully, because I would have blown through a lot of cash doing it.
God, tell me about
But after a couple of years of reviewing gaming laptops, the thing that came to me was I was like, these are all basically the same machine. They can all, you got your office laptops and your gaming laptops, but all your office stuff can do the same thing. All your gaming laptops can essentially do the same thing. And it made me realize made me think, why do I really want one of these? Like, I don't really have the time to play games. I don't have the cash to invest in it. And for me, it was almost like, I don't know, this like status symbol kind of thing where it's like, ooh, I got a shiny new toy. Let's show it off.
it. Like it represents you, like it's an extension of you. And if your laptop
Yeah,
is shiny and fast and sexy, then you are, you know,
yeah. By extension, you are too.
right.
Right. And so, anyway, it was that was a couple years ago when I came to the realization and decided to be happy with my 3-year-old phone and
That's
my
what it is, right? It's just like
aging
literally, it's
computer.
deciding, like, it's just like I'm going to decide to be fine with this.
Right. Well, and for me, it was like, okay, what do I actually use my technology for? Because and I go through seasons where I'm like, I really want to get an Android phone because I love tweaking it and doing all this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm like, but the last time I had an Android phone, it was like I spent the first couple days doing that, and then after that, I didn't use it for any of that. It's like, what do I use my stuff for? I use it to take pictures of my kids and message my wife and watch YouTube,
Right.
listen to music. And so my phone can do that. It's like I'm not going to upgrade it until it gets to the point where it's not repairable. And then on the laptop side, I've got this trusty old Latitude E6430, which is like 2012, 2013. and it still works fine. And my job is writing, and it handles that job well. I can even stream and
Right.
be on Skype and stuff without it breaking a sweat. So I told you earlier, I almost I was thinking about blowing some hundreds
Right.
of dollars on another older machine, but it was like, I don't really need all the stuff that's in there.
Right.
I'm good with this one, And so really just taking a step back, examining what do you actually do with your tech and what do you need it to do? Not necessarily what do you wish it could do, but what do you
Right.
need it to
Not
do?
not in your imagination when you look. Okay, when we're both looking at the XPS 15 and 17, like we're imagining, wow, look how nice that is, and then sort of our materialistic ego side says that's gonna make you think about how good you'll feel with that in your hand or something.
Right,
And then
exactly.
it's like, wait, what does it do? It's got the same. It's like, okay, the same speed CPU. I've got a 9th gen 6 core. It can't cool it faster. It can't supply it with power. I've got an RTX 2070. I've got an XPS 15 that works. So that's already like winning the lottery. I know. It did take, it took me a few exchanges to get like a screen, for example, that didn't have artifacts in it.
It wasn't off center. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, what's it gonna do? Does it have a track point? Does it have physical mouse buttons? Like, does it have? It doesn't even have like additional ports. So really, it's like, again, it's. I mean, consumers are in a good position right now, and because companies are in a sort of a tight spot. But there's also, I don't know. Should you, if you need to buy a laptop, okay, if is it time to upgrade or not? What do you think?
Right.
Like, for people in general,
For people in general,
should they wait? Should they wait till the end of the year? Should they wait till 2021?
yeah, I would say if you have a functioning laptop that can do your work okay, as far as like getting online or doing whatever your job is, if your laptop functions and handles it, you don't need to upgrade right now, especially with prices being the way that they are. With coronavirus and everybody working at home, laptop prices on Amazon and everywhere else have just jacked through the roof.
Yeah.
Because demand's way up. So definitely hold
Cheaper
off
to buy a
on
laptop than to
updating.
buy a webcam, right? You need a webcam.
Yeah, that's true.
Buy a laptop with a webcam in it, and then just use it like that. It'll be cheaper than buying Logitech 900, whatever.
Man, I felt bad. I wrote a home office guide, and it suggested the Logitech C615 for $50, and I looked on Amazon after I wrote it, and it was going for like 240 or something crazy.
Yeah. Well,
But yeah, I mean, as far as laptops go, now I think you should wait, especially if you have something that was released in the past three years. Excuse me.
all right.
If you have something that was released in the past 3 years, you're fine. You're really not missing out on anything.
My XPS 15 then. No, yeah. I mean, I think I agree with you. Like with losing undervolting right now due to Plundervault in the H series chipsets, that's a big one for me. The fact that we don't know what's going on with the world or the economy, it's good to have some money saved up.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, laptops are not going to get any worse. Well, no, that's not true. They might, but it's like they should be getting better, right? And unless they really start like soldering everything, laptops should not be getting worse than they are now in terms of that. They're going to be getting better. So in general, I guess the advice is like wait as long as you can. But I think really think about like what do you do with your computing devices? What do you do? How will the next device improve that? Will it improve your quality of life? Like, will it make you more productive? And we really need to be rational, because otherwise, a fool and their money are easily parted.
Right.
I say that from first-hand experience.
Look at what upgrades your current laptop can take. Most laptops can still upgrade the hard drive, and so if you're running a mechanical hard drive, upgrade to an SSD.
Yeah.
Those are way cheaper to do nowadays, and especially cheaper than getting a brand new laptop, and that may make all the difference, you know.
Yeah, for sure. You're still in mechanical.
So
SSD, if you're on 8 gigs of RAM, get 16. Everything's
right.
getting more and more hungry at the moment. Yeah.
So yeah.
All
If
right.
you're running an old one like me, see if you can update the CPU, which is still socketed.
Well, when I
So
get my XPS 15, what's the new one called? Is it the 9300 now? No, 9500.
the 9500, yeah.
All right. Okay. When I buy that one, because I've been compelled, I'll send you my old one.
Hey, I'll take it.
All right. Anything else you want to cover before we wrap up and sign off?
No, I think we pretty well covered it.
All right. Okay. Well,
Good.
yeah, great to so yeah, we last filmed one of these like a year ago. If you haven't been following
Yeah.
my saga, I was trying to get out of Hong Kong alive, and I'm in the U.S. now, and well, out of the frying pan into a less hot frying pan. But yeah, but glad to be doing these. We're hopefully gonna be doing more of these. I'm gonna be uploading this to my personal channel, which I'm just kind of figuring out, trying to get an audience for, and figuring out what we want to do. And we're also gonna put this on UltrabookReview's channel, and yeah, in general, we try to interact with people a lot. So please do leave comments and questions. Give us ideas for stuff that we want to cover. We want to start doing live streaming on YouTube, I believe, so we can get more audience interaction. That's another thing that we want to do. So, yeah, please give us your feedback. Constructive criticism is always welcome. And yeah, we hope you enjoyed chatting with us. And peace out. Be safe.
All right.
Be healthy. Make smart purchasing decisions.
Upgrade those laptops instead of buying a new one.